Breaking news. Now, I've just received word from my source that NRS is stuck between a rock and a hard place, meaning that they're trying to make the final decision between releasing the game on PS4 or should they release it on PS5. Now, one thing that's going on in the industry that is hitting every gaming company extremely hard is the fact that they're having trouble making a decision on which console to release the game on. You're probably scratching your head like, dude, it doesn't make sense. Put it on both systems. Well, I'm going to explain to you why this is such a hard decision. Now, they were looking to move the industry forward by releasing their titles on the next game console. But due to the chip shortage that's going on in the world, not a lot of people are able to find PlayStations and Xboxes. Now, I'll tell you this much. I myself has been looking for a PS5 for over a year. I've had the money to buy 5 PS5s over if I wanted to, but unfortunately, I have not been able to find one because they're always sold out and other people are experiencing the same problem. So check this out. If Mortal Kombat were to release on the PS5 right now today, a lot of people would not have access to the game on PS5 and it would reflect in the sales, saying that the game sold extremely poorly. Now, people would not care about as to why the game sold poorly. They would just say the game sold poorly. They would not look into it and go, hey, well, this game sold poorly because there's a chip shortage and nobody's able to find this game system or purchase it. So they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now, if they release it on the PS4 has limitations, meaning that the new things they implemented in the new game will not be able to run as smooth on the PS4, and they will have to cut back on story mode, features, maps, all types of stuff. Mind you, PS5 comes with ray tracing, and it comes, I should say next gen comes with ray tracing, and it also comes with a faster loading time, which gives them more space to do more things in the game, such as things like conquest mode and things of that nature, and the expanded crypt. Now, this was one of the reasons why we were not able to get those, as well as other reasons on the PS4 due to spacing issues, download speeds, and a whole bunch of other things. It's a lot of factors that play into what can you give a person for them to be able to download, because if it's not obtainable by the general audience, you can possibly be sued for false advertisement or failure to delivery. Basically, if I run an ad telling you, hey, you can get Mortal Kombat and it comes with Scorpion, and you buy Mortal Kombat and there's no Scorpion, you have right to sue me because I got you to buy a product based on a promise. So if they say, hey, you're going to get a crypt, and you don't get a crypt, you have the right to sue. Or if you get something you felt like you was shamed and it was a money grab, you can sue that person, because in the United States of America, you can sue anyone for anything for any reason at all. That's just the way our laws are set up for you international viewers. Now, to get back on track here, I will tell you this much. The decision that they have been juggling back and forth is to release the game on both systems. Now, a lot of you probably like, well, duh, that was the obvious option. Why the hell didn't they go with that in the first place? Well, I'm here to tell you why. The reason they didn't go with that in the first place is because they did not want to divide a fan base. They wanted everybody to move forward. Now, if they came out with Mortal Kombat 12 exclusively for the not exclusively for the PS5, but exclusively for next gen, it would encourage people to work harder to get new systems, and it will be one of the first fighting games that's on the PS5, as well as any other fighting game that come out on it. It's like the next step over, because everybody is looking to play with the new technology. Like, the developers are ready to use the next gen technology to make better games. Hell, did you see the Matrix? Did you see how good that game looked? How it was no loading, and the cinematic scenes were actually gameplay scenes and it wasn't something that was created? That's fantastic. Imagine what they can do with that Mortal Kombat. You cannot do that with the PS4 at all due to its speed limitations, and especially the fact that the PS4 sounds like you're taking off at an airport. Now, I'm only saying PS4 a lot because I'm a PS4 guy. I'm not really an Xbox guy. I haven't been an Xbox guy in years, but that's going to change because I am going to be getting an Xbox soon. It's about time me and Xbox put our differences aside and we work together to make some money. That's what is going to have to happen in that nature. So, them making a decision, I'm going to tell you exactly how this is going to work here. Now, should they decide to go through as the final decision to put it on both systems, this is what they're going to do according to my source from what I'm being told. On the PS4, it will get released. It's going to be a great game. However, it will run fully smoother on the PS5, of course, with shorter loading times. And guess what? There will be a crypt expansion on PS5, meaning that they have more space and they're able to do faster loading times and a lot of other things, better graphics and bigger move sets. Basically just more space, more memory, more RAM across the board, because it's just that powerful. Now there's going to be special DLC for PS5. Now if PS4 do get the DLC, it's going to be washed. It's going to be washed down, watered down DLC, and that's not something NRS is looking to give their audience. But should WB come out, from what I'm being told, this is a decision that WB is going to have the final decision on it once once NetherRealm turns it in to WB. We will be able to see what happens from there. But I can tell you right now, Ed Boon would rather have faster loading times. This is something that he has said himself. This is not something that I'm putting in his mouth or anything of that nature. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do the extra work for this video. I'm gonna put a clip up here on the screen of Ed Boon talking about how he cares about faster loading time over graphics, and this will add some credibility to the leak of what I'm telling you. So they're looking to get to the next level. So let me go ahead and show you that clip real quick, and then I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary.
The technology, I mean, you know, I look at like Unreal Engine 5 that we showed off, and I think of like what that's gonna mean for, like, you know, MK games and stuff. I mean, you must get excited about just the possibilities of what you're gonna be able to do with the game as you know, these new machines and everything come out.
Yeah. One, you know, I think, you know, it's funny when these new systems come out, these new consoles, and everybody goes, okay, well, what's the graphics look like? What's the graphics look like? I think people are underestimating the impact that the almost zero load time is going to have.
Yep.
I think that's suddenly going to open doors that just weren't considered possible before. And I think we haven't even scratched the surface of what will eventually be done with those systems.
Oh, I agree. I've been saying that to people, is the SSDs and Xbox, and it's not just a PlayStation thing, right? Xbox and PlayStation will both have SSDs, and yeah, I mean, there are games where, as you said, I think just, you know, I could even imagine with like your games where it's like instantly switching stages, or like where just you could have so much kind of just happening. And he said, like, I think that's stuff where even the Unreal demo, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people about it, and it's just like the fidelity of what's streaming in with all the textures and all that stuff. I said, I think that's yeah, it's one of those things, I think you're right, that's going to dramatically change kind of the types of games. And, you know, although we've always loved the load screens, especially in fighting games, it's part of the fun of it. It's just sort of like now, yeah, the idea that these can be sort of continuous, you know, battles. And yeah, you said, I get excited about next gen for just, you know, all genres. And I think you said, especially fighting games, where that's all going to go. So I'm sure you'll have some more fighting games in your future, Boon. Don't let us down.
All right. Now that you've seen that clip of Ed Boon saying what he said, you see that adds the legitimacy to this unconfirmed leak that I'm giving you. They're anxious to get on the PS5 because the things that it can do, it's a much system that's easier to work with. And mind you, they're working with new technology themselves also. That's what they're working on. Now, I'm also going to tell you this, that by the time it does get a PS5 version, they're looking at something like, again, Grand Theft Auto expanded and enhanced, meaning that the graphics will run on a different engine or a slightly modified engine of Unreal Engine 5 or Unreal Engine 4, because on the PS4, NRS has already hit their peak and did what they did with the graphics, which is fantastic, by the way. So don't be surprised if you get a PS5 game, or I should say a PS4 game of Mortal Kombat 12 looking like MK11, is what I'm saying in so many words. But then you get on PS5 and it looks like an entirely different game. That is what is going to happen based on the information that I have, should all of this stuff gets confirmed through WB by the time it is turned in. What I'm giving you right now is the leaked notes of NRS, and this is coming from my source and their table of the writer's room and how they handle things as a company. Now, look how this did wonders for Grand Theft Auto, because you got first person on the PS4, you got first person. We didn't have first person on PS3. We didn't have none of that. The game looked completely different in first person. Why? Because PS4 was able to handle that capacity, which was a real next level step up. The graphics look different, everything the same way that we're getting new features with this new Grand Theft Auto that's on the PS5 version that people are gonna that people are gonna enjoy. That's the reason why that game has been able to make it from system to system to system, or generation to generation, is because it's been able to separate itself from its predecessor. Now this is something that Ed Boon and them is looking to replicate. So in order for them to replicate this, they got to make sure they take care of the fans, but also handle their business at the same time. And that's the reason why this is going to be one of the greatest Mortal Kombat games, because they know for a fact that they have to deliver. They got to deliver, so that way their fans can be pleased regardless of what system is on, because at the end of the day, people only care about having fun. When people care about having fun, they're willing to overlook a lot of other things that you may or may not put into the actual game. So I want to say hats off to NRS for putting the fans first. I know a lot of you probably like, man, they never put us first, but I'm telling you, if they can be a little more vocal, they definitely would. It's more of a WB tradition to not say anything when you sign contracts. Mind you, these are old, dirty people that are like 70, 80 years old that are still in charge of these companies, or they operate off an old traditional thing. We live in a new generation now where the fans actually wants to hear from the companies and keep them updated. And the fact that NRS does not get to express that, I think, is another thing that holds the company back, because WB don't get the slack for that. Ed Boon does, NRS does, to the point where he kind of have to find a way legally to say something without. I can tell you one thing, they really do enjoy making this game, especially Ed Boon. You gotta remember, they're video game fans too before they got these jobs. So imagine how frustrating it must be for them to have to decide, are we gonna put this on PS4 or are we gonna put it on PS5, aka previous generation or next generation, because they're excited to show off the new features and all of the fantastic stuff that they can do, that they no longer have to have limitations on and everything and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring another clip here to your screen, because I really want you to hear Ed Boon talk about how excited he was to see the Matrix footage and to see everything that can be done going forward with what we have. I think that's important that you guys see that, so you can get a clear idea of how they view video games also. And this also leans credibility towards the fact that this is where they will be releasing certain features exclusively on the PS5, or I should say next gen, because they want people to get the full advantage. Imagine having to put out something and you know it's not a full representation of what you can do. That gotta be frustrating towards anybody, right? So anyway, let me go ahead and pop this clip up here on the screen, and then I'll let you guys go ahead and chop it up from there. Check it out.
And we're all fans of that, and so
that pushes you. That's the thing I kept saying to people, is like, you look at that demo, and that's not a game shipping this November, but I think that inspires not only me, but you said game developers like you, and I talked to so many other studios where it's like that pushes you to be like, wow, all right, this is like where we're going to get to, and that's exciting. Yeah,
and again, it's, to me, I'm more excited. You know, the graphics is it's kind of like a given. Okay, the graphics are going to be better, but this new way of handling memory and loading and stuff like that is gonna be huge.
Yep, and I think you're right. And I've seen, I haven't seen anything you guys are working on, but other studios, what they're doing, I think it's, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised about how, games are going to change, especially with SSDs kind of across everything. And that was the thing with the Unreal demo. People were like, oh, yes, it's PS5, but I think Xbox is going to do that. PCs, majority of them have SSDs now and everything. So it's, it seems like there's still some life left in this business, and we hope that you stay. I mean, I always say this every time I talk to you. I'm so impressed with your loyalty and devotion to the industry, and also MK, and what you've built there at Earthrealm. So thanks for hanging with us, Ed.
Now, another thing I wanted to point it out really quickly is the fact that you heard him talk about SSD drives, right? Well, guess what? The PS5, or the next generation for Xbox and PlayStation, I should say, for you Xbox lovers who don't like me saying PS5, is they have SSD chips. The PS4 and the PS4 Pro in the old generation runs off hard drives. I'm pretty sure I'm 99% correct in that. You can correct me in the comment sections if I'm not, but I'm pretty sure the next gen runs off SSD and the current gen or previous gen runs off hard drives. So that right there in itself alone shows you that there is a massive difference and a reason as to why they want to release on the SSD drive, because as you heard Ed Boon say, it's a huge deal when it comes to memory and loading, which means if you really think about it, what do they really have to load? They have the Crypt and Conquest mode. That's what they have to load, are those two things there. And other fighting games don't have to worry about that, but it's a good thing for NRS because now they can fully become a RPG fighting game is what they can be, which is a mixed genre of having to explore world, open area, I should say. You saw how beautiful the scenery was on that clip. Imagine being in one of the realms. That's something else I'm going to get into, but I'm going to say that for another video as to how they can shape out these realms correctly. But I just wanted to show you that and kind of bring that to your attention to let you know it is a massive deal for them to release on next gen. But why release on next gen when the sales numbers are not going to be good, and that can possibly cause your next game to get a lower budget or to be canceled or whatever the case is. Mind you, companies only care about two things: money, and they only care about what the fans think to a certain degree. So if people come out and be like Mortal Kombat 12 was a flop, no, the real fans will know it's a flop because of the shortage, the chip shortage that there is, and a lot of people can't get their hands on these game systems. But the average idiot won't know that and be like, man, shut up, Tekken was better, Mortal Kombat flopped. And we'll go, well, Mortal Kombat flopped because there was no chips. Tekken came out after they started producing 50 million new PS4s, PS5s, for example. So it almost makes sense for them to wait it out a little bit for PlayStation to fix their issue, or the next gen to fix their chip shortage issue, which I'm told it will be coming to an end very shortly, and they will be able to get back to normal and feel safe releasing games on newer consoles to where everybody have access to get these systems. So for those of you that was wanting a deeper dive scoop as to what the heck is going on, well, I thought it would be a treat to bring this to you and to also give you guys a little longer video and to bring Ed Boon back onto the show so that way he can kind of speak some of those things himself and you can hear from his mouth, if that makes sense, all at the same time. So this is his information I wanted to bring to your attention, but I do got a big question I want to ask you guys. Now I want you to answer this. Do you think it would be a great idea for NRS to put Mortal Kombat 12 on PS4 and then put an expanded and enhanced version on PS5, meaning an extended Crypt, Creator Fighter, or whatever the case may be that they leave out to get people on the next generation? Do you think doing that is a ripoff to the PS4 or the last gen fans? Or do you think that's pretty fair? I want you to sound off in the comment section below because I will be reading it and I want to know your thoughts. Get in that comments.